You're good. You're good.
So the retrospective and career post is until as of September 30th, 2025. Wise?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call.
Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. Desi is absent. Mr. Kendall?
Here.
Mr. Lex?
Here.
Mr. Ritchie is absent. Ms. Souter? Here. Ms. Williams? Here. Ms. Single?
All right, moving to section 3, our minutes. Can I get a motion to approve item 3.1, work session regular meeting minutes, October 16th?
So
All in favor? Aye. All right, moving to section 4, correspondence. Mrs. Bell, do we have any?
No, we do not.
All right. Moving to section 5, public comment. This is our first public comment section of the evening. This is your comments from members of the public for the Board of Education on items included on tonight's agenda. If you have a comment, please state your name, the street that you live on, and move your remarks to 3 minutes. Seeing none, we'll move to section 6. Superintendent.
Okay, great. Thanks for everybody showing up tonight. It's good to see everybody. Happy November and pre-Thanksgiving. Tonight we're going to go in a little bit of a different order because our newest student board representative has joined us tonight. I'd like to introduce Luke Baldoni. Luke's application to be a board rep here tonight was outstanding. He's super motivated to participate and contribute. And I've gotten the opportunity along with Mrs. Shorter to get to know Luke and look forward to his contributions throughout the school year. Luke, the board's excited to greet you, and you're going to be first because I know that you have to go back to the football banquet tonight. So we're going to do the very top of the agenda, introduce yourself to the board, and provide your monthly report or monthly update from the student perspective. So the floor is yours.
Hi, I'm a graduate of senior high Township High School. As mentioned, I have a football banquet I just came from. So it's my monthly report, and I'm going to be targeting mainly events that are going to be happening in the winter and how to kind of break it down. So my first report is solely focused on the basketball games and how towards the latter half of the season, attendance for those student section and parents can start to dwindle. And I can put some things that we can encourage students to come. And the first one is at halftime. A lot of schools have cheerleaders, the dance team have some sort of performance. We have a dance team. That can definitely be another performance that the additional musical that they can have for educational halftime games. Similar if they have for soccer games, they could come to the basketball court and they could dance, which would then allow parents to come and that goes to attendance. The second one is that student activities, so it's like just a 3-point contest at the half or some sort of activity at the half. So instead of students going out to the snack center and using that momentum and that drive to watch the game like they would have. They're engaged, they're having fun, and they're already going to cheer on their classmates once the second half starts. And finally, I came up with a raffle idea where every few games there will be some sort of reward, whether it's student supplies, candy, or a gift card. And students, if they go to the game, they can put their ticket in and then potentially do the raffle, just to, get some people that otherwise wouldn't come to come. And then my second thing regarding students in winter is that for seniors especially, as winter rolls around and that feeling of like the new school year and fall sports and all fall activities starts to fade, a lot of stress can come because they start wondering, where am I going to go to college, what am I going to do, how do I focus on my grades? So there are definitely, I believe, things we can do in that January-March period to focus on student mental health, well-being, and breaking out that stress. And the first one could definitely be more extracurricular events. We've had a lot of tournaments, like the spike ball tournament, and ultimate frisbee tournaments, and dodgeball tournaments. We can definitely keep doing that and having more just to keep students, especially the seniors, engaged because there's nothing out of their control more than me and my buddies doing a dodgeball team and playing some of our classmates. Another thing we can do is just like, occasionally have some more lunch varieties. Maybe everyone's want to say a jello cup or some new fruits or some candies. Just during the school day at lunch, you're not getting the same thing every day. Do something to get in there and break it to the mountain. And then I think especially for the seniors, it's an occasional movie nights, maybe in the cafeteria somewhere, where seniors especially, as we're coming to the end of our high school journey, our schooling journey in Hannah Township, can give us memories and make us a lot closer. Every once in a while, going to see all of them together, watching it, And then as we walk that stage at graduation, that's something we look at that and reflect on. I really appreciate how we were able to get so much closer to the school rather than having to do it on our own outside of school.
Any questions about any of those ideas for Luke?
First of all, I think they're great ideas. Second of all, I think you should probably look at the younger kids too for during the basketball. Have them have like a small, like a 2-on-2, 3-on-3 game. Like that way those kids are coming in. But I think that's great. I think, can I just say this? This is what we want. Like this is like that type of feedback is like, we need to hear more things that are like you guys are thinking on that regard because it helps, right? I mean, we know it's a good school district, we get that, but the things that help us move the needle are your comments right there. They're incredibly helpful. So whatever we can do to help you support you guys, we will try to do. So I think the challenge with some of the stuff you're saying is trying to get chaperones.
Right.
So that's the big like after hours stuff. So we have to kind of figure that, but we can work on that. So.
Luke, how's the injury? I think you got a football game next Wednesday night. How's the injury come along?
So the collarbone is still separated. What happened was it's called like a TP fracture, where it's like this. So I don't need surgery or anything. And I got put in Monday, where it's going to be up to Princeton. They would play in the Ottawa game. They're leaning towards now. I'm leaning towards that. We're going to see what's going on. That is a lot, but I'm going to do all the precautions, extra padding and stuff. There are some risks with it, like a severe breakage could cause surgery, permanent loss, and move them on. But I have one game left, and that's what's going to take. And I never think it's going to happen. I think if I've gone through 3 years of football, I'm going to go through one more.
I'll let you go back to the bank right now. We're going to see you at 5:57, whether you're in full pads and uniform or not. 5:57, we're going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony right before the game. All right, bud? All right, let's do that.
Thank you. Have a nice night, and have a nice Thanksgiving.
All right, Lily and Ariana, it's your turn for your student report, and welcome back.
So something that I've noticed is students are starting to participate in more activities, which was really like a struggle at the beginning of the year. We had the spirit dance, and there were very few, I think I touched on that a little bit, so but there were very few kids that came to it. And so we were, like, it made us nervous for the rest of the year because nobody got the first thing. We still have, like, so many months of the school year left. And so this month we have 2 bigger things. We have Crazy Olympics, which is just like a bunch of like fun activities that we do after school. And then we have Powder Puff, which is where all the girls play football. And so far for Crazy Olympics, since I'm part of Stuco, I get to see like, we sell the shirts, so I get to see like the numbers of how many people are like, participating. And so far with Crazy Olympics is going to be on Monday, and all the senior and junior shirts are completely sold out. And sophomore and freshmen they're a little less, being a little bit more nervous to join these things, but they are still, Ms. Schaefer compared but she's our studio director, she compared the numbers to last year, and it's looking better than it was last year, which is just really exciting because almost about 2 months ago, there was not near that many people coming to the spirit dance. And then for Powder Puff, same thing, Mr. George, he ordered 120 shirts to keep them at like $25 a shirt, and they were all sold out. People were asking him like, how do we get a shirt? Like originally when they set up the Google form for the shirts, they said it was going to close on Tuesday at 3, and they had to close it a day early because they were already sold out. So everyone was like, oh, then how do we get a shirt? I thought the form was still open. So that's already 120 people, which is way more people than was at the spirit dance. So it's just, we're really excited because we also have our homecoming dance coming up, which is the beginning of December. And with these numbers, we're really excited that people are still like participating, and we're excited to see people at all these events.
Thank you.
Right, so I want to start off with our sports. I want to say congratulations to all of our sports teams, tennis, field hockey, cross country. Cross country last week finished their I think it was state finals and stuff like that, and they did fantastic. Field hockey, I think a week or 2 ago, the season, the playoffs, they had a really good year, especially with the new coach. They did fantastic. And then tennis team, we won semifinal. We only made it to the semifinals for our conference. We got beat out by your daughter, who was a kid there. Tough loss, but rather than your daughter than anything else. So Every tennis group, they get the meet a certain criteria and they'll go to this banquet. And both of our varsity doubles won all group one doubles. And our first singles, Ellie Smith, and our second singles, Kirsten Callahan, won a bunch of awards. So it was a really great night. And speaking of great nights, our boys and girls soccer team both won their conference titles. They had a fantastic season. Unfortunately, it was a back-to-back loss for the Sunny State titles, but we're not one to complain. We have amazing athletes on that team. We have amazing school spirit. I don't know if I made a comment to you the other day, but we were there at the boys and girls game. I don't think I've ever seen that many kids there before. Like we had a good season last year. We were very good last year, especially with the boys. But we had a ton of people that I don't even see go out of the house other than school there. And it was a great surprise because you see them there and you're like, oh my God, finally came out, oh my God. So it was a really fun time. I feel like because of how successful our sports team are, they really like boost them around. And everyone, you see people like alumni, like I saw people that graduated in 2024, or like people that graduated in my mom's class there. So it was really nice to see it. It brings the community together. And locker rooms are finally open. Personally, I can't speak for the boys because I'm a girl. I'm in the girls' locker room. But the girls' locker rooms are fantastic. They're beautiful. I have only the good things. We have so many bathroom stalls. It's fantastic. It's so great. We have running sinks. It's fantastic. It's great. Going from shock toilets to now this, I'm not one to complain. I love it. And then the new football field, which obviously we're going to be doing the unveiling, but a few gym classes have been able to like play on it and walk around, and it's beautiful. People are so excited, especially like I mentioned our Powder Cup game. We're all so excited. It's going to be like the first people to play on it. We're beating the football team to play on it.
Do you guys want to talk to the board about what happened last year's Power Cup game and make any predictions for this year's game?
Well, we've talked, and if we beat the seniors that graduated last year, there's no way we're losing to the juniors. So we're pretty confident.
Was it a guaranteed victory?
Yes, especially.
So if we go with DraftKings, it's a lot.
Yeah. Lucas, we're here to be very proud to share with you guys his 60 slide playbook that he sent us. And he was a little upset when we tried to narrow it down to less than 60 slides. So we are hopefully going to get all of that in.
He's really committed. I appreciate it because this is one of the things that I feel like adults don't really like get involved with. Like they usually don't go to the games, but us as students we're very competitive about it. Especially like juniors usually like, the whole point of it is that like it's seniors rigged, like they win, it's your senior year. Nah, I'm crushing that. As seniors we're winning. There's no doubt about it. We don't have to do that or anything like that. You can be junior refs for all we care. We're winning.
All right, thank you, girls. Excellent job. Before I forget, I just want to remind the community and the board and our guests and whoever's watching on live stream that the football game versus Audubon, we are going to be selling tickets via QR code. And those tickets can be available in advance or at the door. So we're expecting probably the largest crowd ever, as long as the weather's not too cold or rainy, and we're hoping for a really great evening. All right, next on the agenda, moving to some more serious business. I want to acknowledge that we're appointing a new high school principal tonight, effective February 1st, 2026. And that high school principal is going to be Mr. Kevin Greenway. I have worked with Kevin each of the last 6 years. This is my sixth year at County. Kevin's been with us 8, but he has more institutional memory than just the last 8 years because Kevin was also a graduate at County High School. He is the perfect leader for this position. He's ready to really be able to step into this job and not only honor all of our past traditions, but also have the foresight and the skill set to lead us into the future. Couldn't be and we're excited. This is a well-deserved, well-earned, no-brainer decision as far as I'm concerned. And it's my pleasure to present to you Mr. Freeway for tonight's agenda. And he's here tonight, and he'd like to say a few words to the board.
So I just want to start by first and foremost thanking everybody in this room, Dr. Zuccaro, Ms. Shorter, Ms. Ball, the entire Board of Education, and the entire Haddon Township community for trusting me with this position. Dr. Zuccaro said I was a product of this fantastic community. I grew up here. I grew up as both a student and also as an educator. I taught here for 5 years, and then I began my career as an administrator here, so this has really been my place to grow up in so many ways. And I'm really grateful to all the people that have made Haddon Township High School and Haddon Township School District such an amazing place, and I'm honored to continue that tradition, but also to lead the school as the community and the district continues to change into the future. I want to thank my family. Unfortunately, my family wanted to be here tonight. I have a sick 4th grader at home. Wash your hands, everybody. It's going around. And then my wife's home with her. And then my 7th grader and my younger son. My 7th grader's at basketball practice, and her coach would not let her leave, even though the coach actually left. I'm the coach. So I want to thank them because obviously they're my family and they're my priority, but as anybody knows, the high school is also my family, and my family's my priority, but my immediate family knows that I'm going to have to spend a lot of time at school, so I'm very grateful to them for allowing me to do this. I've spent a lot of time at the middle school over the past few months, and I've really enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed getting to know those kids and seeing how the building works. It's even expanded my understanding of all the runnings of the school. It's been so long where the high school and middle school are connected, but you know, we talk a lot, and I work really well with Andrew, but just being there gave me so much knowledge. So I'm really appreciative of the middle school, but having said that, I'm really excited to come back to the high school as well. It's where I started. I built a lot of relationships there, and I'm just really excited to come back to, first and foremost, the students. It's why I get into this. It's why I coach youth basketball. It's why I became a teacher, is to work with the students, and our students are fantastic. And I want each of them to know that I see them, I will listen to them, and I'm really, really excited to get to work with them because they're amazing. So I'm really, really excited, and I want to thank everybody, and I'm excited to get started eventually. I'm also excited to go back to middle school tomorrow, so whatever works. So thanks very much.
Comments from Mr. Freeway.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Very well deserved.
Thank you.
You earned it.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, there's a saying that, we're always standing on the shoulders of those who came before us. And I have had the pleasure or the opportunity to follow 5 superintendents who, when I came into this role, I was still in pretty frequent contact with all 5 past superintendents who were willing to help me as I got started. And, there's no stronger foundation than Mr. O'Brien, Gary O'Brien, who is leaving a tremendous legacy at the high school as a many decade leader. Gary's been a role model. His work ethic has been second to none. He cares deeply about our school district, our school, and that's the foundation that Mr. Rio will build on. And we're excited to welcome Kevin, but also acknowledge the wonderful work that Mr. O'Brien has done, and his life's career, his life's work, professional life is dedicated to that high school. Right next to Gary is a longtime science educator, Mr. Tom Mulligan, who's also retiring in February. Tommy has been with us for 3 decades as not only a science teacher, but he's done everything we've asked him to do. Tom he's coached multiple teams. He drives a school bus for us. We catch him back in the school like 9 o'clock at night, running the hallways when it's winter time, right? He's got the most energy. I don't know what he's going to do himself in retirement, but this is a tireless worker, and I can call him a friend now because it's been a pleasure getting to know Coach Mulligan and Coach Mulligan over the past several years, and we're going to miss him as well. Some acknowledgments at our middle school. We have a wonderful tradition at our middle school called One Book, One School. That I probably haven't acknowledged enough over the last few years. And it's tremendous amount of work when Mrs. Tagmeyer comes in with the middle school administration. They select a novel, they read it all together. It's an immersion into all best practices regarding all the literary devices. The author visits, gives us an assembly. There's a luncheon, and it's just an outstanding program. So congratulations to our middle school, Ms. Tagmeyer for 1.1 School, another year, another successful year with that program. And then hot off the press, we knew this was a high group of 6th grade math scholars that came into the middle school. Magna Math, our new math program, is running a competition across the country with 900 schools. And right now, our 6th grade winning leap class for Miss Fallon, they appear to be in 2nd place out of 900 schools. It's coming down to the wires. However, it turns out it's a tremendous achievement. Whether it's 1, 2, or whatever they finish at this point. We're really proud of them. The most important thing is they're motivated to do math, think critically, solve hard problems, and make great results from the engagement standpoint right now with that program. Next, our partners in education, Haddon Township Education Foundation. Walt Beatty's here as an officer in that organization. He's going to present us with what is now known as the Big Check. And thank you all for coming out.
Thank you, appreciate it very much. These dollars were given $11,501. We're going to fund 12 total grants that are going to touch pretty much every school in the district. I think there are 18 applications. We are closing in on $250,000 raised. I think a little off around the Ohio numbers. We've raised $25,000 for a golf fountain, which has been sequentially growing every year. We also have an application for $1,500 for some emergent SNAP issues. So we're going to support the district in that effort. So these are dollars from the community of adults to the community of students. So it is an absolute joy and privilege and honor to raise these dollars and get back to the school. So thank you for all your great work you guys do. We also have a week of giving, the last piece, right? So it's a competition amongst the schools. So you can go online, it's all over Facebook and whatnot, and you can, make a donation and mention the school, and then the winning school gets a $500 grant to the principal to be used as they see fit. So this is, I think, the 6th or 7th year we've done the week of giving. So we ask for your support there as well. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
For our purposes. Selfishly, we're going to promote it. Not us.
Okay. Last but certainly not least, the person to the left of me, Kelly Hinkle, our board president, is continuing to be a state leader and advocate when it comes to school funding. May ask her to speak on behalf of the school funding collective, which she leads, and it's not a direct, correlation with the school board and her role. It's a separate role, but she's doing this work specifically to help our school district receive funding that we believe it's entitled to, and other school districts like ours. So she's done an amazing job in that role, and we're going to have, she recently had an online meeting, and we're going to just ask her help fill us in on where things are.
Sure. Happy to share. So we did an update on Tuesday. It was really meant to be a follow-up to the session that was done at workshop, which is the school board conference. happened in October, but we had a lot of attendees who were not actually at that session. And so we reframed it to focus on the New Jersey Department of Education survey that came out a few weeks ago. It closed on the 14th. And in that, the Department of Education really laid out their funding priorities and the areas where they are open to potential changes when it comes to the funding formula and the way funds are allocated. And so it was really like a preview of the thinking and what may be going into the funding formula and the decisions that our new governor is going to be making when it comes to the budget for this year. So we talked through the elements of that survey, the focus areas around our local wealth measures, so like the local fair share, how that's calculated, how special education, transportation, extraordinary aid, all of those areas are calculated. And then we talked about some legislation to watch that exists right now. There are a few bills that are in the legislature that, if you talk to some folks who are in the legislature themselves, they'll tell you to keep an eye on these bills because they have the most potential of moving. So there's one that's really focused on logistics and transparency around the funding formula. There's another one that is focused on regionalization of school districts and consolidating school districts. It was named, that's a brand new bill, it was named, that one is much more about starting conversation rather than pushing that legislation forward, so I don't want folks to get too concerned about that, but it's really to continue a dialogue around that. And so it was a great conversation, a lot of school districts, a lot of school board members were on, happy to see folks who are interested in advocacy efforts. Now that the election has happened, we have a chance, now that we know for sure who our elected officials are, to go back and start engaging more and trending with those folks as well around what's possible for this year and future years. At this point, and again, with the new governor, there may not be a ton of changes that can happen in this short period of time for this year's budget, but future budgets are still up in the air.
Kelly, I knew Kristen was on too. I was listening to you. Knew I was on. While I was driving, I was listening to you. You did a very nice job. And the team of people that were communicating were very interesting.
Yeah.
And including you, Kristen. And so I applaud you for that effort. And thank you for taking the time to delve into that. It's nice you have someone from our district that's pushing that. Thank you.
Yes, and we have several of our board members who are really involved in that. Mr. Cook, Mrs. Souther, definitely part of those ongoing efforts, as well as our own administrative team.
Very good.
Thanks.
That's all I have for my superintendent's report. Can I be ready to introduce you on the presenter for tonight?
Please.
Okay. All right, so save the best for last here. The most important for last, I think throughout the last 18 months or so, we have heard from just about all of our administrative team. I don't think Mr. George came out, maybe bring this on. But I think we've heard from pretty much all of our schools and technology facilitator was here, elementary principal, middle school principal, and Dana Cotter is our supervisor of special services. She does a remarkable job. She hands down has the most complex role on the administrative team because the role of special services and special education it's complex in the delivery of services and the management of the services. And I welcome Dana here and all of your work and dedication to our school district. So share with the board the State of the Union as it pertains to special education.
Thank you very much. Just get my screen up here. So I'm going to share just a very brief summary of our special education services. As Dr. Piscara said, I think that we mentioned during the work session, I've been here for 18 years, but I've been working in special education for probably 38 years at this point, which is a great way to start a presentation to share how old I am. with all of this. But I can talk about special education and my students and the students that we support at nauseam. So I'm going to try to focus on some very clear data so that you guys have a very basic overview of what is the status of our special education services right now in Haddon Township. And I'm going to focus a little bit on our out-of-district supports and how we are looking at that, and some of our new programs that we've implemented within the district as well. So just because those are some of the things that do come up as far as when we have our meetings. So make sure that you are getting all of the information that I can share. Just overall, just starting with some of the goals of my department for this year. We have a lot of goals that we work on over time, just as we work with our students, but we are really focusing on that specific data evidence to inform our practices and our programming. I'm going to share a little of my thought process as we start with programs in the district tonight, and how we use the data to make those decisions. We're also continuing to try to be proactive with our communication with colleagues, students, and our families, making sure that we are giving more updates on progress and how our students are moving forward with their skills. And then there's been a lot of new state-level mandates for special education this year, specifically some with the area of notice of meetings, some in the area of the way we are looking at our classification and how we classify students with specific learning disabilities, and also a lot of new mandates with regard to student graduation and transition into post-secondary programs. So we are doing a lot of PD and deep diving and how we can change some of our practices in those areas. We are also looking to incorporate some new assessments. We use assessment tools that are national norms when we are looking at classification and evaluation of our students. For some reason this year, 3 of them have come up with new versions. So we are needing to do a lot of new professional development regarding that and make sure that we are really using the most up-to-date and valid instruments when we are evaluating our students. And then as ongoing, we're always looking for how we can look at alternate supports and how we can support counseling and mental health and then behavior challenge and emotional regulation needs of our students. With that is something in both of those areas that we've seen an increase in needs of our students, whether it's school refusal, school anxiety, emotional regulation, significant behavior challenges over the last 5 to 6 years, and we are really needing to be really out of the box in how we are looking to support our kids in their mental health. So I'm going to talk just kind of the nuts and bolts of things over the last few years. You can look at our total classification numbers. This is how many students have been classified by the end of the school year each year. I do have our data for this year currently is at 389 students in districts, our students who are classified. As you can tell, it's slowly been creeping up. That mid-year number we are anticipating will definitely be rising. We anticipate will probably be over 400 by the end of the school year. Our similar rates are going. We are currently working on evaluation of approximately 15 students, and that is usually about our number that we have at all times. It's around 15 students in our evaluation process. Looking at the out-of-district numbers, we do have kind of a similar number of students over time. Some of our reasons why we're a little lower than we might have been is because we have implemented some new programs in districts, so I will talk about that as we move forward. We are also this year having a big class of students that are going to be graduating. So either they are ready and they've met their goals and they're going to move on, or they are going to be reaching the age of 21 in which they then will no longer be eligible for our school services. So we have a big emphasis this year on really supporting those students to make sure that their parents and their families are ready for this transition. And we do a lot of stuff for our kids across their school programs over the years in order to help make sure that the parents are really ready when, especially our students with more significant needs, are ready for that adult services time. For example, we have later, next 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, we have a lunch and learn session with the developmental disabilities, the Division of Developmental Disabilities, for some of our families who might want to meet and talk about how to register and how to become part of the DVD process and to be safe, as well as what services, as DVD is opening up a bit more into our students before they're 21 and providing services as well. So we're looking at making sure our parents are aware of that and taking advantage of that. So there's really more for our high school age students. We are starting to make sure that our parents are getting that information. In addition, we have our case managers at the high school level who are trying to reach out to college programs, especially as our kids get accepted into programs, reaching out to those programs and talking to them about what is needed as far as ensuring they can receive some supports at the college level for their area of disability, whether it's through 504 plan or access to learning services. So we continue to support that. Just looking at our eligibility across classification category. One of the nice things that has happened at the state level over the last 5 years is that we have moved from language from our classification language to a more student-centered standpoint. One of the biggest areas of that is, well, for example, communication impairment used to be communication disabled or disability. Emotional regulation impairment, which is more descriptive, used to be emotionally disturbed. So the wording was just really not something that was very positive and really really symbolized what was happening with our kids and what their needs were. So that's been positive. But as you can see, most of our students in district are students with specific learning disabilities. Our other students might have other health impairment. Most students with other health impairment are usually students that have attention deficit disorder or another medical diagnosis, which qualifies them for services. Eligible for speech and language services are students that might not need special education programming, but may need support with a speech therapist for articulation or fluency needs. We have students with autism, communication impairments, our preschoolers with disabilities, students with multiple disabilities, and our emotional regulation impairment. And while preschool, multiple disabilities, and the emotional regulation impairment categories are kind of on the lower end here, there actually are 3 categories that have increased the most over our numbers increasing over the last 5 years. Emotional regulation impairment, really looking at our students that are having a hard time with controlling their emotions, may have some explosive behavior or significant anxiety that's impacting their ability to perform in school and access their school. We have a definite big increase in our preschool population as well. So our preschool classes and our inclusion classes in district are full. I know we added another section 2 years ago. We really have a lot of preschoolers in our really wonderful preschool programs. Looking at just classification by school level, it makes a little bit of a sense that we have more classified students at the elementary school. There's more grade levels there, which is giving that information overall. And then when we talk about our students with their different classifications and their different needs, we have a range of continuum of services that we do provide for our students based on what that student's need is. The goal is always to be as close to the general education class as possible, which we call the least restrictive environments. We always want to be pushing towards that. But we have students that have different needs and they need more than that. So we have our general education, we have our inclusion classes or inclusion sections, which includes a special education teacher and a general education teacher co-teaching together in order to support students in the general education class. We have our resource classes, which might be students that need to leave the class for a period of time to work on specific skills or have a class at the high school level, which might be an alternate curriculum and placement so that they can learn in a small group setting and work on individual goals. We have special class programs, our self-contained classes. We have actually seen a big increase in our need and our population in our self-contained classes, which is why we have looked at starting some new programs there. We have students that are in out-of-district programs, but are attending in a public school setting, so they may be, we have students that are in, or have been in the past in Haddonfield and Collingswood and Eastern High School, Rancocas Valley, where they have programs in some of the bigger school settings that meet the needs of our students. And what is nice about that is when we can have our students placed close to us, when they are going out and needing to do things in the community or in work settings, they are doing it here within their local community. So they're not too far away in another private school. So the private school placement really is our programs that have a lot lot of intensity. They are very expert at how to support students that have multiple different needs. Different schools focus on different things, so it's always making sure that we're finding the right fit for our kids. And families as well in those out-of-district placements. And then we do have some kids that might need home instruction. In talking about those programs, this is our numbers right now, is that we have about 26 students in our preschool or in our self-contained preschool classes. We have 36 students in a self-contained language and learning class or multiple disabilities class. Again, those are the two programs that have increased a great deal in district for us. We have 236 students. Most of our students are in those inclusion or in the small group pull-out classes and in general education for most of their day. We have students that are in out-of-district public school settings, like I said, and out-of-district private school settings, and then our students with. I've talked a lot about numbers right now, about our general special education population. Are there any questions?
We didn't want to bother you.
That's okay.
A couple questions. And on one slide, when you had the classifications,
Yeah.
can you be, is it just, can you be in multiple classifications as one student?
So if your classification is because you have different needs in different areas, you typically are falling under the multiple disabilities classification. However, we do have students that have a reading disability and attention deficit disorder, but the reading disability is the most significant thing, and they're going to be under the specific learning disability category.
And if you qualify, can you test out of it? I'm not sure that's the right word.
So once you are a special education
Yes.
student, you basically, and every year we do an annual review of the program for a student, where we do it more often if needed, to determine is the placement program where you are, is it appropriate, or what are we recommending for next year based on the progress you've made. Like I said, we're always working towards that general education piece. But then every 3 years, and a minute or more often, at least every 3 years, we need to meet and redetermine eligibility for every student. So every student, I had a meeting this morning, to be honest, one of our out-of-district students, who we met, and we said, okay, do we need to do more testing? What should we reevaluate and look at your needs where they are now to determine, are you still eligible for special education services, or do you need any changes to the program based on where your progress is? So it's something that we have to do at least every 3 years. We do it on an individual basis every year, annually, to talk about programming, but at least every 3 years we have to say, are you still eligible or not? And at times we determine not necessarily eligible anymore. If you're not meeting the criteria and you're not meeting special education services anymore, you're not going to indicate. Okay.
Well, say you guys do a great job, you have a challenging situation here.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It's a challenging job you've got, all your staff.
I will say that I could talk your ear off about how great our kids are and how great our staff is, and that is really what makes all of those challenges worth it. We're going to talk a little bit about out-of-district. We do have one of our students here. I know we talk a lot about the augmented communication systems. This is actually a student who is in her wheelchair. She does have her augmented device that is supported there with a that we have approved in the past to purchase. But that keeps her device there so she can talk while she is engaged in the community. So I'm going to focus a little bit on out-of-district data. All right, so right now, currently, if we're looking at the school level, we have one preschool student who's out of district currently. Most of our students are in the high school 18 to 21 range. Our services are from 3 to 21. So most of our kids are there. And as I mentioned, we have 5 to 6 kids that are graduating this year from our programs. If we look at our district data by classification, most of the students who are in our out-of-district programs are in the multiple disability or mild intellectual disability, is that term, or students with emotional regulation impairment, students with autism, students that are really needing that really intensive specialized programming, that while we say that we do a great job here, we love our kids, and we really try to keep them to be here in Haddon Township, there are times where they need a broader set of resources and specialization. So when I'm looking at each year. I'm looking at our different district costs. We have some challenges. We are looking at cost increases that might be more than 2% every year, which is what our tax increase would be. Not so much in tuition, and although that does happen at times, it's in the related services component, where the cost of a one-on-one aid, or the cost of a speech service, or the cost of equipment that we may need to purchase. Those are things that are definitely have increased much more so. It's really hard to put a percentage on it because we so vary all the different types of things. But we also look at the type of placement. So we are looking at, in general, for a student, we are always trying to work on, again, the least restrictive environment. We feel like we cannot program for a student here in district. We're going to look at other public school settings that are local. Do they have programs here that we have our students still in public school settings, give them much more intensity than they need, that we may not have a program here in Haddon Township, but they may have it in Haddon Heights, or may have it in Haddon Fields, and we're going to look there next. If that is not what is needed, we need to look at a more intensive program than we are doing that. Our case managers are going out with the families so that we can tour places, make sure that we're asking questions about what are the needs, how are you going to be able to provide the services, how are you going to be able to look at the progress for our students. And we still are the case managers for the students, even though they are attending the program. So we are out visiting, doing some observation, we are handling the IEP process, we are calling to make sure we get the progress reports and everything else. So we're making sure that progress is being made. But some of the other parts of that is we have had 5 students return to district in the last 2 years, which is really a testament to our wonderful staff and our teaching teams and everybody else who's been wonderful about trying to help incorporate students back into their home community. We've had 2 students that were, when they moved into district, were already out of district and had never set foot in Haddon Township School building. And we went out, observed them, got to know them, and said, you know what, we can educate you here and help them back. That's very challenging. As you guys know, the students know, it's very challenging when you have new people come in and try to integrate. And I will say our students and our staff have just been phenomenal about making sure that kids are in programs, getting the after-school programs, and doing what is needed. We have also opened 3 new programs in district in the past 3 years. So we have the multiple disabilities program at the elementary school at Van Skyver. We have a new language and learning disabilities classroom at Van Skyver as well that we opened this year for increased number of kindergarten students that we had that had that need. And we just opened a new multiple disabilities classroom at the middle school, which we talked about previously as well. So when we're making our thought, one of our other great kids, we are looking at our thoughts of how is it time to start a program in the district. We really want to look at, do we have a cohort of students? Do we have a few students that have similar needs that we feel we're going to be able to, leave this picture up as long as possible, this is great. But do we have a program need for a group of students that are really going to have similar needs, and can we do that here in the district? Do we have space is another part. Space has been a challenge for us as well. Do we have then a potential need for this program over time? So if I start a program here in the middle school, I want to make sure, do we have a potential need for this moving forward with some of our kids that may be coming up from our self-contained classes? And as we've been keeping and starting new programs at the elementary level, it is making sense that we are needing a program at the middle school level now. And in 3 years, a program at the high school. So that is coming next. And then again, this is really supporting our least restrictive environment. But we also need to look at the increased level of support. If we're bringing kids back, if we are keeping our kids in district, are we able to provide services that are going to help them progress? Are we going to be able to use a bunch of resources? Can we do that within our setting? Can we have the right speech therapy, the behavior supports, the right equipment? And whenever we're starting a new program, these are all things that we have to consider to make sure, can we do this and do it with fidelity so that we are really making sure our kids are going to make progress? Any questions about that so far?
I have, real quick, how does it, college with Mr. Whatever?
Yeah.
Are there programs that are specialized and
Yes.
they create their own and then because they have to keep the kids in that program, right? So if I create something, you don't want to dissolve something, so they have to kind of constantly.
Yeah, they're always trying that, taking tuition students, like if you were to send a student included there, we would pay tuition to them.
Tuition, is it, like, I know, Martha, I see our tuition rate. Is that tuition rate different because it's is it a higher tuition rate?
No, like within another district.
Yeah.
Typically it is lower, but it just depends, like, because our private and our bigger school
Yeah.
programs are more intensive, they really have, they use student load ratio, they need a lot of services, they need specialized equipment, they need all of the things there. So if you're sending a student to another public school setting, they may need some of those things, but maybe not the same intensity level.
And if you create a program, would you look to other districts to kind of help support that program?
Yes.
Okay.
When I was mentioning that I met with Haverhill and
Yeah.
Heights yesterday, that's what a lot of what we talk about is, what do you have coming up? What I said, hey, I just started a program at the middle school. And Heights is saying every day they have a program at the 18 to 21 level. I'm like, fantastic. So now we can look at how can we keep our kids, maybe not so, if we can't keep it fantastic, we can keep them close.
Right.
And when you think of that, so we're going to have a student that may need job training skills or may need support there, and we're going to have a lot of those go out with the community. If they're attending a program in another place, then that's more challenging to find generalized back to home. If they're going to be in Haddon Heights, they're looking at working in communities and going to restaurants that are near here. So that's always our goal. The challenge is that some of our really specialized programs that are really awesome, like we have Burlington County Special Services, or we have the Kingsway program or Bangkok, really wonderful programs, unfortunately are a little farther away. So that, those are some of the challenges we have, but they're really great programs for our kids that really need those. All right, so talking quickly about our middle school multiple disabilities program. I'm going to highlight that program. That's one of our 3 new classes that we started in September of 2025. We did have students who returned to district for this program because we felt we were able to meet their needs here, and most of our parents are very happy to have their kids be within their local school district. We had students that may have needed to go out because we didn't have a program that were able to stay with us and stay in Haddon Township. Right now, most of our students are in 6th grade, but it is going to likely be multi-grade over time. Next year, we may have some students that are going to move into the program, and we will then have 6th and 7th graders, and then 6th and 7th and 8th the year after that. So that is our thought process. And again, the least restrictive environment. This really does help promote that diverse population of students that we want in district, so that our kids, all of our kids, can benefit from being part of that type of diverse community. I will say that the support from staff and administration has been incredible. Streetway is part of that as well. There's a lot of challenges when you are bringing in students that really learn differently and need different routines and different curriculum. And the staff has been so welcoming, coming up with really great ideas of things, and we have a really great teacher who's helping as well. So the program features, it is continuing their academic instruction and the rigor that they were getting when they were in our elementary school programs or their out-of-district programs. They're doing reading instruction, math instruction. We are definitely still working on reading math. They are 6th grade students, they need to progress. We do have a special class program in which the students are working with a general education science teacher to do similar projects with a lot of modification. So when there is a experiment that's happening in the 6th grade classroom, our kids in the MD program are working with that general education teacher to do those same projects. We have potential for alternative routines. Those are things we had to think about. What are we doing if we have a student that really can't handle being in a class in a group of 50 middle school gym class? Those classes are loud. How about the lunchroom, which is also very loud and may have challenges for sensory needs? What are we doing with cycle classes like art and music? And then how about the arrival and departure supports, so that our students that may have a challenge on the larger buses or are walking in, how do we make sure that they're getting in safely? We also started a life skills and pre-vocational classes in which we are looking at instruction in those areas of need for some of our kids. When I talk about pre-vocational, we are not teaching them job skills directly. They are 6th grade students, but we are teaching them how to take responsibility for making sure that you're watering the plant every day, or that you're doing your job within the classroom. Are you able to sustain attention, to complete a task over time without having to have someone support you and come to you the entire time. So we are looking at some of those skills, and then being able to then work on the community and applied projects. For example, we are very fortunate here at Penn Township. We've got a nice consumer sciences room, we have a greenhouse. The kids are just started a greenhouse unit, so they are going over to the greenhouse and starting to work on understanding the life cycle of the plants and then actually doing that in very hands-on project-based pieces. They also just finished their restaurant unit, and just to go over a little bit of that, the kids did math related to menus. They did a lot of money identification, practicing handing in money and making the right amount of change. They also worked on social skills related to ordering, using the right tone of voice, being able to communicate your wants and needs appropriately, and how to look at the menu and select what you want from a menu, and then how to really show the appropriate etiquette when you're sitting in the restaurant. So our kids then, after they practiced all of that, had a walking trip earlier this week over to Nick and Joe's, and they did their ordering, they were able to have a really great meal, and it went very well, but they're practicing those skills within the setting, which again is a place that they go with their parents at some point, in order to help increase their independence. Our goal later on is we do have the beverage cart. We had a beverage cart actually through the HGF, which provided that grant for us, with using beverage cart, a card system, different things in order for the kids to make beverages, and then practice going around taking orders, selling coffee and tea to the adults in the building. Not just use coffee, but being able to do that, also snacks like popcorn and everything else. So it was something that they are working towards right now as well. So we're very excited about that program. So I have to say that overall, the staff has been just incredible about starting a program like this with all the challenges and differences. With our students that are staying in district because of our new programs, do have a lot of behavioral needs and behavioral challenges, and our special education teachers are really just, and our general education teachers that we've been working there as well, have just been really, really great. Any other questions?
And I have a question. So do they have the potential to be part of different clubs and things
Yes.
in the building
Yeah,
as well?
they are in the tabletop gaming club, they are in a music program. Yeah, absolutely, we'll support them there. Yes,
I just do remiss that we're very close to the over the years. You're a wealth of knowledge. I'm just grateful, especially for parents.
Thank you.
And I would just say, as a parent, seeing how to transition once they leave the district and go on, that is really something that I've observed hasn't happened with a lot of kids when they get into college. They're not as prepared maybe to advocate for themselves, or as a parent to be as prepared. So I would just say that you guys are really awesome about that.
Thank you. Thank you. That's our hope that we can help that.
Thank you, Mrs. Cobb.
Sure.
Excellent job.
All right. Moving into section 8, finance and facilities. We have a couple of items that we're going to exclude from the vote for this. So we have a couple of questions on 3 of the contracts tonight, so we're not going to go over those items. Those are 8.15, 8.16, and 8.19. But can I get a motion to approve items 8.1 through 8.18 with the exception in those numbers of 8.15 and 8.16?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions about any of the items in this section? Roll call?
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Desi?
Yes.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
Mr. Lennox?
Yes.
Ms. Sauer?
Yes.
Ms. Williams? Ms. Nichol?
Yes. Moving on to section 9, instruction and program. Can I get a motion to approve item 9.1?
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Roll call?
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Desi?
Yes.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
Mr. Lennox?
Yes.
Ms. Sauer?
Yes.
Ms. Nichol?
Yes. personnel, can I get a motion to approve items 10.1 through 10.16?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call?
Mrs. Williams? Mrs. Williams? Yes. I do confirm. Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Desi?
Yes.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
Mr. Lax?
Yes.
Ms. Sauer?
Yes.
Ms. Hinkle?
Yes. Before we move on, I want to turn it over for the reading of a couple of resolutions. So, Mrs. Sauer, we'll start with you.
This resolution is for Mr. Mulligan. So whereas Mr. Thomas Mulligan has for the past 34 years dedicated his career to the students of Haddon Township and has served as a dedicated professional educator, endeavoring to provide the best possible education for our students. And whereas the said Mr. Mulligan has ably represented the Haddon Township Board of Education in his role as an elementary teacher from 1992 to 1997, a high school science teacher from 1997 to 2003, a middle school science teacher since 2003 to 2026, and has served as a coach and bus driver. Now therefore be it resolved that the Haddon Township Board of Education recognize the excellent service that is rendered the said Township of Haddon and the said Board of Education, as well as the service rendered to the many students over the past 34 years in the field of education, and that the Board of Education does sincerely appreciate his efforts in their behalf and also in behalf of all the students in Haddon Township. And therefore be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of this meeting and a copy be presented to Mr. Mulligan.
And Mr. Kendall, will you read?
Yes, resolution, whereas Mr. Gary O'Brien has for 32 years dedicated his career to the students of Haddon Township and has served as a dedicated professional, endeavoring to provide the best possible education to our students. And whereas the said Mr. O'Brien has ably represented the Haddon Township Board of Education in his role as a special education teacher since 1994 to 2001, assistant high school principal from 2001 to 2006, and as high school principal from 2006 to January 30, 2026. Whereas the said Mr. O'Brien has served capably and willingly now, therefore, be it resolved that the Haddon Township Board of Education recognize the excellent service that Mr. O'Brien has rendered the said Township of Haddon and the said Board of Education, as well as the service rendered to the many students over these 32 years of service, and that the Board of Education does sincerely appreciate his efforts in their behalf and also in behalf of all of the students in Haddon Township. Therefore, be it resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of this meeting and a copy be presented to Mr. O'Brien, Haddon Township Board of Education.
Mr. Kendall. We are grateful to Mr. Mulligan and to Principal O'Brien for many, many years of dedicated service and we wish him both well in the retirement. All right, moving into section 11, student services and activities. Can I get a motion to approve items 11.1 to 11.11?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms. Desi?
Yes.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
Mr. Lax?
Yes.
Ms. Sauer?
Yes.
Ms. Hinkle?
Yes. All right, moving into section 12, policy. Can I get a motion to approve item 12.2?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Ms.
Desi?
Yes.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
Mr. Lutz?
Yes.
Ms. Sauer?
Yes.
Ms. Williams? Ms. Sample?
Yes. All right, moving into section 13. This is our final public comment section of the evening. This is for comments from members of the public for the Board of Education on any topic, whether or not it's on tonight's agenda. If you have a comment, please state your name, the street you live on, and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. All right, seeing none, we will move on. One thing I would like to say, we have one additional thing to take care of, but I did want to congratulate Mr. Cook for finally receiving his official certification for a Master Board Member from the New Jersey School Boards Association. It was earned a while ago. It takes them a little bit of time on the administrative end to have that come through, but it is finally truly official. So congratulations. It's a lot of work to earn that certification. We appreciate your dedication.
Okay, Mr. Cook. Okay, I would recommend at this time that the board moves into executive session for not a long period of time. I do need to talk to the board about a residency issue, and it's going to require probably about 10 minutes, 15 minutes max, just so I can brief the board on where we are with things. And then
Yes, so we will go into executive session. When we come out of executive session, we will immediately adjourn the meeting there. There will be no additional action taken this evening as a result of the content of that executive session. And so folks are welcome to go. We will not, as I said, be taking any additional action. We will just be officially closing out the meeting after that executive session. Please.
I just wanted to talk about Broadway night. And the fact that we held that in the middle school with all the change with the construction, and it went very, very well. It was highly attended. People were so amazed at our students. But Mary Ann McKenzie came back to speak about what the night actually started out as, because we now have had a whole generation of students that have gone through since Shannon has been here. And it was actually very touching, and a lot of people did not realize the purpose of it and what the Newell family does and where that money goes. So it was very wonderful to be there for that. We raised over $5,600 that night for the Shannon Newell Fund. So it was a huge effort by a lot of people for food and adjusting to the different space, but I wanted to acknowledge that and thank everyone for supporting it as well.
So sitting over there, just to me, that is Rihanna Terzo, and she is my new secretary in the office. So I just wanted to introduce her to the board members. This is who you'll be speaking to. She'll sign you up for your programs and stuff like that, so we can put now put a face with the name. That is Rihanna. So she's been with us since August, and she's been wonderful.
if you visit the middle school, okay, most likely will not.
Oh, right.
Most likely will not see Brianna there, but she does have a twin sister in the office of the middle school. So I'm still mixing it up.
Any other comments from the board or administrators before we head into executive session?
I just have one. I do want to, in December, we're talking more about the school climate survey, which has been in the works for a long time. We talked about what we're going to do, how we're going to do school climate. But I do want to get with Ruby and Ariana sometime before our next regularly scheduled meeting with Mrs. Shorter. Because I want to get your input into what questions we should be asking students about the school climate.
Thanks, Rob. I got Bob Brown, former president, asked a question about the lights at the track. Will they be on all the time? Have we set that policy yet? So do we know when the lights will be on?
They like to let it run in the field?
Fields.
No.
Only doing athletic events.
Only during athletic events or whenever our affiliated organizations are using the field.
He was just asking if he runs with an impaired, visually impaired runner, so he was unsure if they were having lights, like, if they were on all the time.
That was like
They're using to see it.
Yeah.
So.
Good.
Somebody reached out to me on concerns with crossing guards because they actually witnessed an incident 2 weeks ago on Cuthbert and Merrick, and reached reached out to GPAC. And it wasn't, the person wasn't hit, but his concerns are that our crossing guards are putting themselves at huge risk, especially on Cuthbert, because people are not slowing down. And he convinced GPAC to have a car there this week, a couple of days. And they did stop quite a few people who went through the crosswalks and stuff. So he was curious as to what we can do to help promote some things, maybe through, I don't know what Cuthbert technically is considered as a county road, but yeah, like can we somehow get like those flashing signs that say 20, like anything that can help mitigate the people speeding through, or even getting those little stick things that stand specifically on Cuthbert.
I'll follow up with the chief.
Yeah, just because he walks his dog all the time and it happens to be there a lot of times when kids are crossing and stuff, and he just has concerns and rightfully so. I know the crossing just to go to the applicants, they put it like
I
that,
would
so.
echo that, because the mayor was walking across 2 weeks ago and was hit by a car. So
Yeah.
people just not paying any attention.
Well, I think a lot of it is they're coming downhill from the car.
This is right by my house, the one,
Oh, yeah.
maybe clearly, just
Yeah.
just trying to,
Yeah.
just don't,
In
no.
regard to the crosswalks. Thank you.
Anyone else? I think we can turn in our electronics as well, because we don't need them for this.
Jimmy, would you like to write Mr. Hackers?
Were you gonna say something, Mr. Kirk?
The meeting was going to go into
I was gonna
Can I just say one more thing? I'm sorry, crossing guard update. So we do, Jen and I got some flowers for the crossing guard, and she did a personal visit with
Mr. Pinto.
Mr. Pinto.
And he's doing very
He's
well.
doing much better. So, you know,
He's committed to coming back, and let's make sure he's going to get his clothes back.
He did, he told me that, he told me that they wanted his back. Very nice gentleman.
Can I get a motion to move into executive session?
Motion moved.
All in favor?